It's me again, Margaret. Yeah, Dustyn McCormick, author of Ragged Edge. I'm making this video to answer questions that people had after our live interview. I had two questions, pretty good questions in my opinion, so I will go ahead and get to answering those. The first one is I gotta read it, I wrote it down. When imagining my story as a film, what professionals in the industry regarding certain visual and musical aesthetics do you see yourself working with to bring the book to life on the big screen? That's a great question. Um, hmm. The bad part is I'm one of those people that I don't always pay attention to who makes movies. I can tell you because I know the special effects for this story would really, really, really be a pain in the ass. I think I would like to work with James Cameron. I'd like to work with the people that worked on Harry Potter. They had some amazing visual effects. Um, or even the people that do Game of Thrones. Because again, you've got some amazing visual effects in there and, wonderful atmosphere. As far as a musical score goes, that's a little more difficult, um, in my opinion, because there's what would I like to hear, which would be based on pretty much the music that I listened to while writing it. So there would be a lot of big band music and smooth jazz, and the music probably wouldn't always work with the action on the screen. But a few bands that I would like to work with. I would like to work with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. I think they could make some pretty damn good music for it. There's a band called Nightwish. I think I would like to have them on the soundtrack also. Um, Harry Connick Jr. He would be a good one, I can slip in some of that crooner sound, which would be great. Um, God, there's so many of them, and there's a lot of artists that I love the sound of their voices, and so I would like to have them be a part of it. Um, but I mean, the list is way too long for me to get into here. So, I would like a mixture of some heavy metal, the crooner sound with like Harry Connick Jr., and maybe even get some throwbacks and slip in some old David Bowie if I could get permission to do it, or some Bing Crosby. That would just be awesome. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Now, if you want to know actors, for Sean, that there's two actors I would like to see play him, and I would literally probably just like cream myself if either one of them signed on, and that would be David Tennant, who you might know as the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, and I'm a huge Whovian, so I would love to work with him. And I think he would be able to pull Sean off very well, and would be able to show a lot of the deeper emotions that Sean has throughout the book. If I couldn't get David Tennant, I would also be really thrilled for Norman Reedus. Again, I think he could play the character very well. He's got a different look to him than what I tend to see, but I still think he could really play Sean and bring him to life, and do an awesome job at the character. So if it comes up, those would definitely be my first two choices to play Sean. Now, on the female side of things, to play Dr. Elsie Hillerman, who Sean has to protect in the book, I would like to go with two that are maybe not as popular, But there's Amy Nuttall. Um, she's been in Downton Abbey, which, yes, I watched that show and I liked it. She's, smoking hot redhead. So, I think she would be able to play the character very well. And then there's also Rose Leslie, who you may know from Game of Thrones. And I think also that she could play Ilse very well. In that, I didn't write Ilse as kind of a shrieking violet, damsel in distress type female. She is very strong. She has to be to put up with Sean. Um, and she kind of gives him a run for his money, attitude wise. And while he tries to, push the mortal around, she won't stand for it. So I think both of those actresses could portray that very well. Now, if I could bring somebody back to life to play the role, I would absolutely love to have Audrey Hepburn play Elsie. But that's mostly just because I feel like Audrey Hepburn is one of the most graceful and beautiful women that has ever walked the earth. And I don't think I have ever seen her in a movie that I didn't like, or, playing a character that she just really didn't pull off. So, those would be my choices there. As far as, other characters that are in the book, while I won't go too far into depth as to who they are, I, would have roles for Christopher Walken, Sam Elliott, Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen. And, my dream cast would involve all of them. Um, but then again, with movies with too much star power, they don't always do that good. So, maybe if I could just get a few of them, I would be really happy with that. So, I hope that answers your question. That was submitted by Edge of Beyond on YouTube. And so I hope I've answered your question. If I haven't, feel free to ask follow up questions, and hopefully I'll get them answered in a much more timely manner than I did this time. The second question comes from Keegan McCormick, who, in the interest of honesty, is actually my son. He's my youngest son. And he asked, what goes through your head while you're writing? And I think that's a question that a lot of people ask writers. And it's kind of funny. I don't know how most writers answer it, but for me, there's not a lot going on upstairs while I'm writing. And that's the best way I can describe it, is that when I sit down to write, for the most part, it's the characters in the story that are telling me the story. And all I'm doing is transcribing it. So for Ragged Edge, it's told from Sean's point of view. And in the writing process, it was like I had Sean sitting on my shoulder, or, sitting beside me, telling me what to write. That might sound a bit like schizophrenia, and I kind of maintain that most authors are at least mildly schizophrenic, because we do have worlds and characters and everything else playing around in our head. And I think most of us have to write it out, otherwise we will go completely crazy. So I hope that answers your question, Keegan. So again, this has all been about Ragged Edge, which is the story of Sean Griffin, a 700-year-old Atlantean. He's been ordered to protect Dr. Elsie Hillerman, a human archaeologist, who has discovered 10 pages from the Devil's Bible. These 10 pages have been missing for a long time. And together they find out that these 10 pages kind of hold the secret to opening a gateway to hell on earth. And, Sean's finds himself in quite a lot of deep shit, but he also finds some allies on the way to help him, including a werewolf and a Celtic goddess, which is good. Otherwise, he would definitely lose his ass. So, that's Ragged Edge, and every author likes to hope that their books will one day become a movie, and of course, I hope that mine becomes a movie. A TV show would be better in some ways because with TV, you are able to focus more on character development than you can with a movie. But at the same time, I don't know if I can write fast enough to keep up with a TV series filming schedule. So, there's, I don't know, there's pros and cons to both ways of doing it. Um, so, but a movie would be great. I would love to go to the theater and see something that I created up on the big screen. I mean, what author wouldn't want to see that? And if I was able to get it so that I did have my dream cast in it, that would be even better. And I would definitely want to be on set while filming, just to meet all of these people in person. A lot of them are, you know, I'm a huge fanboy. However, if I did manage to get Sam Elliott for the role I see him in, I would have to keep my wife away from the set. Um, Otherwise, he might find himself locked in a trailer with this, crazy lady pounding on the door going, Sam Elliott, talk to me, talk to me. I want to hear your voice. And my wife's going to slap me for putting that out there, but it's true. So, if you have any more questions, if anybody has any more questions, feel free to comment on this video. You can contact me on Facebook, look for Dustyn McCormick. That's Dustyn. And I guess if you don't know how to spell McCormick, that would be McCormick. You can find me on my webpage, Dustyn McCormick, as well. Or even on Twitter, Dustyn McCormick. Tweet me, send me a message on Facebook, comment on my blog on my webpage, join the forum on my webpage. I try to make it pretty easy for everybody to get a hold of me, for anybody to get a hold of me. So if you have a question or want to know more about the book, or just want to tell me, hey man, you are dead sexy on these videos and you need to make more of them, I'll be happy to hear that too. So thank you.